What happens when the very people meant to protect a child become her greatest tormentors? This is the haunting question at the heart of Erica Parsons' story. Every year, over 600,000 children are reported missing in the United States. Many of these cases involve heartbreaking stories of abuse and neglect. Erica Parsons was one such child, whose tragic fate remained hidden for years. Her story is one of unimaginable suffering and a desperate search for justice. Imagine a young girl, full of life and potential, suddenly vanishing without a trace. Her absence goes unnoticed for nearly 2 years. The people who should have been her guardians, her protectors, claimed she was living with relatives. But as the days turned into months and the months into years, the truth began to unravel. The facade of a loving family crumbled, revealing a nightmare of abuse and neglect. Erica's story is not just about a missing child. It's about the failure of a system meant to protect the most vulnerable. It's about the silence of those who knew something was wrong but did nothing. And it's about the relentless pursuit of justice by those who refused to let her be forgotten. This is the heartbreaking story of Erica Parsons. Erica Parsons was adopted by Sandy and Casey Parsons, who were supposed to provide her with a loving home. Instead, she endured years of neglect and abuse. This investigation explores the dark reality behind her disappearance and the quest for justice. Erica was a bright young girl with a future full of promise, but her life took a tragic turn when she was adopted by Sandy and Casey Parsons. What seemed like a chance for a better life quickly became a nightmare. Erica's adoptive parents, Sandy and Casey, were supposed to be her protectors. Instead, they became her greatest tormentors. Her brother, who ultimately reported her missing, played a crucial role in uncovering the truth. Sandy and Casey Parsons presented themselves as a typical family. They lived in a modest home, attended church, and were known in their community. But behind closed doors, a different story was unfolding. Erica's life was filled with unimaginable suffering. She was isolated, mistreated, and ultimately forgotten by those who should have cared for her the most. The story of Erica Parsons is not just about a missing child. It's about the failure of a system meant to protect the most vulnerable. It's about the silence of those who knew something was wrong but did nothing. And it's about the relentless pursuit of justice by those who refused to let her be forgotten. As we uncover the details of Erica's life and the events leading to her disappearance, we invite you to join us on this journey. Subscribe to our channel for more true crime stories and investigations. Together, we can raise awareness and seek justice for victims like Erica. Now let's move deeper into the story. What really happened to Erica Parsons? How did a young girl vanish without a trace? And why did it take so long for anyone to notice? Stay with us as we uncover the chilling details of this tragic case. Erica Parsons was born on February 24, 1998, in Mooresville, North Carolina. Her early life was marked by instability and uncertainty. Erica's biological mother, Carolyn Parsons, struggled with personal issues and was unable to provide a stable home for her. This led to Erica being placed in the care of Sandy and Casey Parsons when she was just 2 years old. At first glance, the Parsons seemed like a loving and caring family. They lived in a modest home in Salisbury, North Carolina, and were active members of their local church. Sandy and Casey Parsons presented themselves as devoted parents who were eager to provide Erica with a better life. To outsiders, it appeared that Erica had found a safe and nurturing environment. However, beneath the surface, there were early signs of trouble. Neighbors and relatives initially saw the Parsons as a typical family, but subtle indications of neglect and abuse were overlooked. Erica was often seen playing alone in the yard, and she rarely interacted with other children in the neighborhood. Despite these warning signs, no one intervened to check on her well-being. As Erica grew older, the signs of neglect became more apparent. Reports of Erica being homeschooled and rarely seen by neighbors raised concerns that were not adequately addressed by authorities. Sandy and Casey claimed that Erica was being educated at home, but in reality, she was isolated from the outside world. This isolation allowed the Parsons to hide the abuse and neglect that Erica was enduring. Family members later revealed that Erica was often confined to a small, dark room for extended periods. She was denied basic necessities like food and medical care, and she was subjected to harsh punishments for minor infractions. Despite these early signs of trouble, no one stepped in to help Erica. The system that was supposed to protect her failed at every turn. Erica's early life and adoption by the Parsons set the stage for the tragic events that would later unfold. The facade of a loving family hid a dark reality of abuse and neglect. As we continue to explore Erica's story, we will uncover more about the events that led to her disappearance and the shocking truth that was eventually revealed. How did a young girl, surrounded by people who should have cared for her, end up so tragically alone? Stay with us as we delve deeper into the heartbreaking case of Erica Parsons. Erica Parsons disappeared in 2011, but it wasn't until 2013 that her brother reported her missing. This 2-year gap raised many questions and suspicions. The timeline leading up to Erica's disappearance is filled with inconsistencies and troubling details that paint a grim picture of her final days. In 2011, Erica was last seen by her family. Sandy and Casey Parsons claimed that Erica had gone to live with her biological grandmother, Irene Goodman, in Asheville, North Carolina. They said that Erica was happy and well cared for, but no one outside the family ever saw or heard from her again. This story was accepted at face value by those around them, and no immediate action was taken to verify Erica's whereabouts. In July 2013, Erica's brother, James, reported her missing. He told authorities that he hadn't seen his sister in nearly 2 years and was worried about her safety. This revelation shocked the community and prompted a full-scale investigation into Erica's whereabouts. The fact that Erica had been missing for so long without anyone noticing or reporting it raised serious concerns about the family's claims and the effectiveness of the systems in place to protect children. The Parsons' claims about Erica living with relatives quickly fell apart under scrutiny. Investigators discovered that Irene Goodman did not exist, and there was no evidence that Erica had ever been in Asheville. The family's story was full of holes, and their evasive behavior only deepened the mystery. Sandy and Casey Parsons provided conflicting accounts of Erica's whereabouts and were unable to produce any evidence to support their claims. This raised red flags for investigators, who began to suspect that something was seriously wrong. As the investigation progressed, more disturbing details emerged about Erica's life at home. Friends and relatives came forward with testimonies that hinted at a much darker reality. Erica had been subjected to severe abuse and neglect, and her disappearance was just the tip of the iceberg. The Parsons' behavior during the investigation further fueled suspicions. They were uncooperative and evasive, often changing their stories and refusing to answer questions directly. The inconsistencies in the Parsons' statements and their evasive behavior led investigators to dig deeper into Erica's life and the events leading up to her disappearance. They uncovered a pattern of abuse and neglect that painted a grim picture of Erica's existence. Financial records revealed that Sandy and Casey had continued to collect benefits for Erica even after she was no longer living with them. This discovery added another layer of suspicion to the case and suggested that the Parsons had a financial motive for hiding the truth. The investigation into Erica's disappearance was far from straightforward. It required piecing together fragments of information from various sources and overcoming the obstacles posed by the Parsons' lies. But despite these challenges, law enforcement officers remained determined to find out what had happened to Erica. The more they uncovered, the clearer it became that Erica's disappearance was not a simple case of a runaway child. It was a tragic story of a young girl who had been failed by those who were supposed to protect her. What secrets were the Parsons hiding? How did they manage to keep Erica's disappearance a secret for so long? Stay with us as we uncover the truth behind this heartbreaking case. The initial investigation into Erica Parsons' disappearance was fraught with challenges. Law enforcement officers were immediately met with evasive behavior from Sandy and Casey Parsons. The couple's reluctance to cooperate raised suspicions and complicated the search for Erica. From the outset, the Parsons' statements were riddled with inconsistencies. They provided conflicting accounts of Erica's whereabouts, each story more implausible than the last. Investigators noted that Sandy and Casey often contradicted each other, further casting doubt on their claims. This evasiveness and lack of cooperation made it difficult for authorities to piece together a coherent timeline of events. As the investigation progressed, key findings began to emerge. Financial records revealed that the Parsons had continued to collect benefits for Erica long after she was last seen. This discovery suggested a possible financial motive for their deceit and added another layer of complexity to the case. The more investigators dug, the more they uncovered a pattern of deception and manipulation. Testimonies from friends and relatives provided crucial insights into Erica's life at home. These accounts painted a grim picture of a young girl subjected to severe abuse and neglect. Family members described how Erica was often isolated, denied food, and subjected to harsh punishments. One relative recounted how Erica was forced to stay in a small, dark room for extended periods, a form of punishment that left her physically and emotionally scarred. Another described how Erica was forced to eat dog food and was beaten for minor infractions. These heartbreaking accounts highlighted the unimaginable cruelty Erica faced daily. Neighbors also came forward with troubling observations. They reported that Erica was rarely seen outside the home, and that when she was, she appeared malnourished and withdrawn. These testimonies highlighted a pattern of abuse that had gone unnoticed for far too long. The community's failure to recognize and report these signs of neglect underscored the systemic issues that allowed Erica's suffering to continue unchecked. As investigators continued to piece together the evidence, they faced the daunting task of uncovering the full extent of the Parsons' actions. What other secrets were they hiding? How deep did the deception go? The answers to these questions would eventually come to light, but not without a relentless pursuit of the truth. Authorities identified numerous red flags during their interviews with the Parsons and other witnesses. Erica's absence from public life, the conflicting stories about her whereabouts, and the continued collection of benefits in her name all pointed to a systematic pattern of abuse and deceit. Investigators noted that Erica's medical records were sparse, indicating that she had not received regular medical care. School records were also missing, supporting the claim that she was homeschooled, yet there was no evidence of any educational activities. The more investigators uncovered, the clearer it became that Erica's disappearance was not an isolated incident, but part of a long history of abuse and neglect. The Parsons' attempts to mislead authorities only served to deepen the mystery and delay justice for Erica. The investigation revealed a household where fear and control were maintained through violence and manipulation. As we continue to uncover the truth behind Erica Parsons' tragic story, we invite you to join us on this journey. Subscribe to our channel for more true crime stories and investigations. Together, we can raise awareness and seek justice for victims like Erica. What drove Sandy and Casey Parsons to such extreme measures? How did they manage to keep their secrets hidden for so long? Stay with us as we reveal the shocking details that led to a breakthrough in the case of Erica Parsons. In 2016, a significant breakthrough occurred in the case of Erica Parsons. While serving time for fraud charges related to benefits he received for Erica, Sandy Parsons made a shocking confession. He admitted to authorities that Erica was dead and led them to her remains in Chesterfield County, South Carolina. The discovery of Erica's remains brought a tragic end to the search for the missing girl. On September 27, 2016, investigators followed Sandy's directions to a rural area in Chesterfield County. There, they found Erica's skeletal remains buried in a shallow grave. The location was remote and desolate, a stark contrast to the vibrant life Erica should have had. This discovery confirmed the worst fears of investigators in the community, who had hoped for a different outcome. The emotional impact of this discovery was profound. For years, investigators had worked tirelessly to uncover the truth about Erica's disappearance. The revelation that she had been murdered and buried in such a callous manner was a devastating blow. The community, which had been following the case closely, was heartbroken by the news. Erica's story had touched many lives, and the confirmation of her death brought a collective sense of grief and sorrow. Sandy Parsons' confession provided crucial details about the events leading to Erica's death. He described how he and Casey had subjected Erica to severe abuse and neglect, ultimately leading to her death. The confession also revealed the lengths to which the Parsons had gone to cover up their crimes, including fabricating stories about Erica's whereabouts and continuing to collect benefits in her name. The discovery of Erica's remains and Sandy Parsons' confession marked a turning point in the case. It provided the evidence needed to bring charges against Sandy and Casey Parsons for Erica's murder. The community, which had been following the case closely, was both relieved and heartbroken by the news. Following the discovery of Erica Parsons' remains and Sandy Parsons' confession, legal proceedings were swiftly initiated against Sandy and Casey Parsons. The charges brought against them were extensive and severe, reflecting the gravity of their crimes. Both faced multiple charges, including first-degree murder, child abuse, and obstruction of justice. Casey Parsons accepted a plea deal for first-degree murder, resulting in a sentence of life without parole. This plea deal was a significant development in the case, as it spared the community the ordeal of a lengthy trial while ensuring that Casey would never be free again. During the court proceedings, Casey's demeanor was cold and unrepentant, further highlighting the callous nature of her actions. The trial of Sandy Parsons, who pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, provided a platform for the full extent of the abuse Erica endured to be revealed. Key moments from the trial were both shocking and heartbreaking. Witnesses described the horrific conditions Erica was subjected to, including prolonged isolation, starvation, and physical abuse. One particularly harrowing testimony came from a relative who recounted how Erica was forced to live in a closet, denied food, and beaten regularly. Medical experts testified about the injuries found on Erica's remains, which indicated a long history of severe abuse. The forensic evidence presented in court painted a grim picture of Erica's final moments and the unimaginable suffering she endured. The trial also exposed the systemic failures that allowed Erica's abuse to go unnoticed for so long, prompting calls for reforms in child welfare policies. The community's reaction to the trial was one of outrage and sorrow. Many were horrified by the details that emerged and questioned how such atrocities could have occurred without intervention. The case of Erica Parsons became a rallying cry for greater vigilance and accountability in protecting vulnerable children. As the legal proceedings concluded, the Parsons were held accountable for their heinous actions. Casey Parsons was sentenced to life without parole, and Sandy Parsons received a lengthy prison sentence. The verdicts brought some measure of justice for Erica, but they also served as a stark reminder of the importance of safeguarding children from abuse and neglect. Erica's story is a tragic reminder of the importance of vigilance and protection for vulnerable children. Her life and untimely death highlight the critical need for communities to be aware and proactive in safeguarding the well-being of children. The failure to recognize and act on the signs of abuse and neglect in Erica's case underscores the systemic issues that must be addressed to prevent such tragedies in the future. We must speak out against abuse and advocate for stronger child welfare systems to prevent such tragedies. It is our collective responsibility to ensure that no child suffers in silence. By raising awareness and pushing for reforms, we can create a safer environment for all children. Erica's story should serve as a catalyst for change, inspiring us to be more vigilant and compassionate in our efforts to protect the most vulnerable among us. Share your thoughts in the comments about child welfare issues and what can be done to protect children like Erica. Subscribe to our channel for more true crime stories and investigations. Together, we can raise awareness and seek justice for victims. By staying informed and engaged, we can make a difference. Thank you for watching, and remember, every child deserves a safe and loving home.